Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Publishing Tools. This is one in a series from the Scholarly Support Series from the UWF Libraries. Today I'm going to talk about getting started with the Scholarly Communication Guide, some open access tools for finding journal resources, and then publisher tools. So I'd like to start by getting started with the Scholarly Communication Guide. This guide can be easily found on the library's homepage by going to Subject Research Guide over here on the right, scrolling down a bit, and then going to Faculty Resources. Scholarly Communication would be toward the bottom. This guide provides a variety of information that discusses scholarly communication in general, publishing, predatory journals and publishers, author rights, copyright and Creative Commons, managing your online presence, the Argo Scholar Commons, and open access and funding. Please do go to this site as you are looking for information, and then I am always available to answer questions. So let's talk about open access tools. There are a variety of tools that you can use to find open access journals, publishers. And to use these, they're pretty simple. You can go to Sherpa Romeo, for instance, and I could type the name of a journal, or I could type a topic too. It will pull up by topic. And in this case, I'm looking at forests. Here I can see that this is an open access journal and that my information or what I write can be available openly. This is very different from if I were to look at, say, the journal Science. Where the information is much more detailed. Science does not permit open versioning of their works. There are accepted manuscripts that you may put in an institutional repository. So essentially, Sherpa Romeo is giving you the information about publishing with that site in relation to open access. The directory of open access journals is quite a bit different. This specifically, all of the journals in here have some element of open access. It may be green, it could be gold, it could be a hybrid. Here, I could go ahead, say, and put in a topical area, forestry, and I bring up 132 indexed articles. Now, I do recommend using the limits on the left side of the page because you will pull up a lot of information that you may not necessarily need. For instance, I'm going to pick on agriculture, which takes me to 117. And then I'm going to pick on languages. I want English, or the ability to submit in English. And as I scroll down, I'll start seeing these resources. It gives me some very general information on the first page. If I pick on Annals of Forest Science, I can go in and see that this is an open access journal, but it does have an author processing fee. It began open access in 2022 and has a Creative Commons license. There are links here to go directly to the journal to get your information. And it says here that the author retains unrestricted copyrights and publishing rights. This is quite different from a commercial journal. Also, the articles are archived in ClockS, Portico, and Scholars Portal. So DOAJ is a very good place to go if you're interested, highly interested in publishing an open access journal. One of the other limits that you can put on here is if you're looking for journals that don't have processing fees, APCs, you can select that and you say, I went to 59. Now, usually these are with smaller publishers or educational institutions or institutes. If I pick on this one in the National Journal of Agricultural Sciences, I can see that this is based out of a graduate program at Andalus University. But you see that there are no publishing fees, and still we have the links to the journal for a variety of information. You do have fields that you can search in here, so you can look for specific titles and use keywords, subject, and even publisher if you're looking to see what articles are or journals are available by publisher. You could go ahead and do that. The last one I have for open access journals is PLOS journals. Now, PLOS focuses on the sciences, so it's going to be a little bit different. And they don't have, they do have a very tight quantity of journals, but I can select the subject area here. So say anatomy and morphology. And what it will do is it will tell me what journals I might look at for this particular topic. So it gives me PLOS 1. I could go back and change this, say to artificial intelligence and data science, and it picks on computational biology, digital health, PLOS medicine, and PLOS 1, and PLOS water. So all three of these sources are excellent for finding open access journals. Let's move on to publisher and other tools. Now, there are a wide variety of other tools that you can use to find journals. These will find both open access and your traditional subscription-based journals. Some of these resources are affiliated with UWF, so you would have to log in to use them. And we'll look at cables first. So here, I can search by title or discipline. So say if I did botany. They have journal analytics, and it will bring up your journals and will give you some journal analysis information initially when you look at it. This is a Springer journal, and it gives me a little bit more detailed information. It will tell me the average length of a journal article, links to manuscript. And importantly over here, the review information is blind reviews, 1 to 2 months, with comments, and the quantity of viewers, time to publication 3 to 6 months, and they do screen for plagiarism. So you'll find that this is available for all the journals that are listed in cables. If I move on to Ulrichs, you'll find that this is quite different. Now here, I could search on a journal. Let's pick forests again, pick on forests. And it's gonna go look for that journal, and it comes up in a list with others of a similar nature. I can see from here that this is peer reviewed and electronic, and it's also open access. If I dig into the record a little bit more, you'll see some general information. And then below, I can find additional information that would tell us about subject classification, or if you wanted to know where is this particular journal indexed, what databases would you use to find this journal? So that's Ulrichs, and it will cover pretty much any journal that you could think of. is a diverse database. So here we have a different type of source. This is called Journal Guide. Journal Guide will help guide you to a journal based on the information that you feed to it. So I'm going to give you an example. If I did a title of information literacy, I'm going to say framework, and then I have a sample abstract already to put in here. I'm going to put my abstract in. And what it does is it takes your information and then it looks for journals that would be appropriate. And we can see here communications and information literacy, Journal of Information Literacy, communications and computer and information science. So they are all appropriate. If I click on one, I will get some degree of information. This is going to vary. So there are submission fees. And I get some general information. One thing that is unique about Journal Guide that isn't in the other resources that I'm pointing out is that this is a verified journal. Journal Guide has a white list of reputable titles. And so the journals that you'll find in here are more than likely not to be predatory. Now I could go back and search by journal name, publisher, or category. So I could pick in here, if I did humanities, say in social sciences, and I'll pick on arts and humanities. I can do a search and it's going to bring up journals. In this case, 199. And these are all verified. You could uncheck that if you wanted to. I could also click on has open access options. And it looks like all of them have open access options. The next resource is called Jane. Jane focuses on the health sciences. So you would do a similar approach. I'm going to put in my abstract and just see what it finds. Now it comes back and it shows article influence, and you can look at articles. Tells you this is high quality open access, Medline indexed, and it's in PMC. And so these journals are listed that you can take a look at. It is limited information, but it does help direct you toward the resource. Oops. Next is Kronos Hub. This one is a little bit different. This resource will find a journal and very importantly, will give you information related to funding. So if you have a grant or have a requirement by a funder, it will give you information on the journal. So for instance, in this particular journal, Issues in Mental Health Nursing, you'll see that you have a couple different ways you can look at this: the published version, the accepted version with no embargo, and an accepted version with embargo. This would tell me if there's an open access fee. In this case, there is a fee associated with it. There's no embargo if you pay the fee. CC BY and CND is the license, and publisher deposit, where you can deposit this. If I were to change this to, say, a 12-month embargo, you'll see that I can have my accepted version in my, say, home institution, institutional repository after an embargo of 12 months, as well as other locations that you would be able to place this. And that's for when you have an accepted manuscript that you are putting into a repositories like the Argo Scholar Commons or another entity. Spy Hub. Spy Hub is a little bit different from the others. You can search by title, topic, author. And when you search in here, you will get, of course, the result, journal result. And this gives you a variety of information. So you've got your general information with links to author and journal. You can get information about this journal and their metrics and indexing. So it's currently indexed in Medline. Information on their publication policies. And then in relation to open access. And in this case, this journal has paid open access available. So that would have an APC and some other additional information. One thing that is unique about this particular database is that you can search by topic. The one thing I would mention is that it can take quite a while to bring in the resources, but you enter these, you tell it what you're looking for. And then hit submit and be patient, because this does take a little bit of time. Here I'm being told that it's retrieving a high number of records. And it will give me another message that will ask me if I want the top 50. Very often that's what you're going to be looking at. The other thing that you can do is look at citations by journal. So you can get a feel for the types of articles that a particular journal has indexed. All right, so now I'm going to tell it I want the top 50. I do top 100, or you can view them all, although it pulled up 1,000 journals. So I don't think we would want to look at all of them. And as I said, this does take a few moments, so please bear with me, because this has a unique feature if and when we get there. So here we are. So here we have our journals listed, and kind of by relevance. So what's nice about this particular journal is I can pick journals up to 5, and then I can compare them. And that comes in pretty quickly. So it gives me that general information, one right next to each other. Metrics and indexing, telling me where it's indexed. Publication policies. Open access policies. And then this is where the citation feature comes in. It will pull the citations of these journals. So it will give you a good feel for the types of resources that they provide. So publisher tools. Publisher tools are similar to the journal guide. For instance, Elsevier has a journal finder. I could do the same here and put, say, my title, working title. And then put in my abstract and ask it to find journals. Now this one has a few quirks in it. I find that I often have to back up and then go forward to bring in the screen, which is very odd. But here you'll see starting the journals, and they are relevant to the topic that was put in here. And it gives some information about the impact and such, time to first decision into publication, the open access fee, subscription, there's no publishing charge. And then I could do a click to submit and it will take me to the submission page. Springer has the journal suggester, similar nature. One thing to keep in mind, if you use a publisher to do this work, it is going to pull up their journals. So it may be limited depending on your topic. There's Web of Science, which has a similar feature of putting in your abstract and putting in your title and bringing up the journals that Web of Science indexes, which goes very much in depth. And then there's SagePath, which is a very different resource. SagePath allows you to upload a paper and they will assess it and then transfer the manuscript to the appropriate journal. So it's a very different process. It's almost like a preview that they do for your paper. So thank you. The resources that I've shared, I hope they will be helpful as you explore and look for